rolling. All right. Kollin Schrenk. We have the Kollin Schrenk here in the house. Kollin graduated from Queen's University of Charlotte in 2019, and he is now in public accounting. Kollin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We're super excited to hear what you have to say. Before anything, go ahead, let us know, who is Kollin and what makes you you?
So as Corelli said, my name is Kollin Schrenk. I graduated from Queens in 2019. Things that I like to do for fun are anything sports, particularly baseball, basketball, watching sports, just being around sports, and accounting. I love accounting. I love taxes.
Which is super weird. Who says they like numbers, right? Just kidding. He's very good with numbers. Kollin, what do you do on a day-to-day basis at your job?
So pretty much about what you would expect for about 8 hours a day. And if it's during busy season, about 11 or 12 hours a day, I prepare tax returns, partnerships, individuals, corporations, pretty much all day. So once you finish with one, you move on to the next.
Exciting stuff, exciting stuff. All right, I'm a little biased because I also went to Queens, so go Royals, great school. But I did want to touch a little bit on the fact that you really like baseball. A little bird actually told me that you, once upon a time, didn't always want to be an accountant. You wanted to play baseball professionally. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? What was your story and your journey to like wanting to play baseball?
So pretty much started when I came out of the womb with a baseball bat. My dad played baseball. My whole family's been about baseball pretty much my entire life. And then I went to Ardrey where it really got really important for me, and I started pitching. And then at the end of my senior year, I actually did get drafted by the Phillies, and it was super exciting. And it was just, it was one of those things that dreams come true.
I'm sure your family was super, super proud. And what did you decide to do after high school? Did you join the Phillies? I mean, obviously you ended up being a tax accountant. So what happened there?
So I actually ended up talking with my family a bunch, and after going back and forth for a few weeks, I decided to go to school. I thought it was best for myself at the time, and still think it was the best choice that I've made. So I started my school career out in State College of Florida, which is a junior college in Sarasota, Florida. I don't know if anyone's ever been there, but it's the best beach in the country, Siesta Key. So yeah, I started there. I got hurt my sophomore year and transferred to the University of New Orleans, where I ended up having shoulder surgery. And that's actually where I found accounting too, my true love right now. And came back to Queens, finished and graduated with my bachelor's in accounting, and here I am after a little over a year in public accounting. I'm still in the field.
And so where did that switch happen? You got hurt. What happened there?
So I actually had labrum surgery, and throughout college, I was pretty set on playing baseball after college. But that I obviously put a damper on it. Shoulder surgery is really hard to come back from. If you actually Google it for baseball pitchers, it'll say it's the career ender, which I actually pretty much 100% came back healthy from. I like to say 98%, but I actually pitched 2 years after my shoulder surgery, and I like to think I was pretty good.
Good enough to go back to the leagues, do you think?
I love tax accounting so much that I wouldn't even give it another thought.
All right. I respect it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us that. I know it was probably a journey, but you found what you ended up liking, and I'm happy for you for that. Do you regret looking back, maybe going back to school? Do you regret going to school and not going and taking the opportunity to go to the Phillies?
Sometimes I do think about if I went to the Phillies straight out of high school, but I met a ton of great, awesome people in college that it's kind of hard to look back and think what could have been. But I ultimately think I made probably one of the best decisions of my life to go there, as I have a great job now, it pays me well, and I'm just bought a house. So
Exciting. I guess ultimately you end up where you got to be, right? Trust
exactly.
the process. Trust the process. I see we have a few questions or a question in the chat. I have one more question before we go into student questions. You talked about your journey, not going pro and getting hurt, and ultimately becoming a tax accountant because you had that backup plan. What is one, two, or maybe three pieces of advice that you would give our students here, given everything you've gone through and all the experiences you had? What's a couple pieces of advice you would want to leave them with?
Definitely having a backup plan, having whether that be one, two, three, or four, or all the way to 100 different backup plans. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Another thing would be that, so it's more of a quote, but it's if it takes you, or if you give yourself 30 days to clean your room, you'll clean it in 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, you'll clean it in 3 hours. And that, to me, more or less means that kind of jump on the opportunity. Don't take it for granted, and really just go after the things you want.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Kollin. We have a question in the chat. Elijah, do you want to go ahead and say it out?
I was about to say, what experiences or what like tips have you learned from working with tax accountant?
The thing about tax accounting is you're learning every single day. They come out with the new laws every single day. The IRS does. As far as what I've learned, it's to be patient, and just because you may know something doesn't mean the other person's going to know. As far as dealing with clients, it's helped me a lot with my professional writing skills, and just overall communication, interpersonal skills, and all that.
Awesome. Awesome. Cole, you want to go ahead next with your question?
So, like, what's the hardest part about your job? Like, something you find difficult doing?
The hardest part about my job is definitely always learning. If I don't know something, I have to look it up, and that's pretty much every day, even after a year. And I know there's partners at accounting firms that are 15, 20 years in, and they still have to research things because everything's always changing, always changing. You just have to adapt to everything. And then another hard thing was, compared to school, everything was kind of laid out for you. They said, oh, Mary has this amount of money, she makes this amount of money a year. But in real life, you have to kind of pry it from your clients because there is deadlines you have to meet, and you have a whole bunch of other people's work you have to do. It's the hardest part is getting the information from your clients.
Do you think it's easier once you've established those relationships, or do you think it's difficult just all around?
It gets easier once you establish more relationships. I know with the recent July 15th extension for the taxes, a lot of people waited to the last minute to give taxes. And so it puts a lot of pressure on you come those last week of deadline day, and you're working 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. It's just, it can be overwhelming sometimes.
All right. And Evelyn has a really interesting question. I think it's actually really important, and you have interesting insight because you've been to 3 different schools. Evelyn, do you want to go ahead and say your question?
Yeah, this question could also go for Kollin. I was asking, how was your experience at Queen's University, because I plan on possibly attending it after high school.
Do you want to answer that first, Corelli, or do you want me to go?
You can take it.
Okay, so the thing I love about Queens is it's a smaller school. All of my accounting professors knew me by name and always asked me how I was. And it just gave you a sense of that they really cared about you. And I'm not saying that other schools don't care about you, but Queens was especially that, like, that's what the one thing they wanted you to know, is that they really cared about you and really cared about your future and where you were. I still have professors that still email me to this day, and I've been graduated for a year and a half now. So
Yeah, I'll mirror that. They take the time out of your day to like make sure you're doing all right, not just a number at their school, in their class. It's your face, your person, your story, which is super unique. I don't have an experience in another school. I know I have friends in like bigger schools that maybe have a different experience. But yeah, beautiful school. But like I said, I'm a little biased, just a little biased. All right. Gearson, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in like 10 years? Like if you keep working as accountants?
Definitely at the manager level, if not partner. I know it takes a lot of time and years to make it to that level, but I eventually want to start my own firm. So I want to learn all I can from other firms and start my own. I would like to be my own boss one day. So
Awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? If you do, please feel free to drop it in the chat or speak up now. Those are all the questions I have. Coach Speedy, Nick, do you guys have any questions?
Yes, Colin, I love that quote that you mentioned about the days, man. Like the whole, like after you said that, I zoned out and I held on to that. I'm going to continue to hold on to that. That was a absolutely amazing quote. If you set your room in 30 days, if you say it's going to take you 30 days to clean it, it's going to take you 30 days. If you say 3 days, that is absolutely amazing. Can you kind of elaborate more on that and kind of like walk it out in terms of what that means to you?
So the biggest thing, and I fall victim to it sometimes too, is procrastination. Basically, if you can do it now, go ahead and do it. If you can do it now, go ahead and do it. I mean, I know it's short, simple, but I think it's straight to the point, and I think it hits it right on the head.
That's good. Thank you. I hope you guys wrote that down right there. Write that down.
All right. Any more questions? If not, thank you so much. Oh, we got another question in the chat. Colin?
Top 5 sports. As far as watching or playing? Watching? Actually, basketball is my first one. Definitely. And then I would go football. I don't even know if baseball would be even in the top 5. I don't know how fans go there and sit for 9 innings. Sometimes I'm like, geez, this game is lasting forever. And then to watch it on TV, I'm like, I watched baseball for the first time only because I missed it so much because of the delayed season start. But it was, I can watch maybe 10 minutes of it and I'm like, all right, I gotta watch something else. But basketball, football, soccer would probably be number 3. Let's see, 4, badminton. No, I'm just kidding, but I don't, let's see. Hockey's on there just because I like the fights. And then probably boxing.
Thought you was gonna say pickleball, Colin.
Some golf in there. Gearson, what's your favorite sport? Come on. You gotta think about it. All right. I agree with Colin. Baseball is really boring to watch. I really enjoy football. Coach Speedy, what about you?
What's that? My favorite sport?
Yes.
Watch? Sumo wrestling. Like when they be, I'm just kidding. But that is fun to watch. It is very fun to watch. If anyone, want to get a good laugh or just get some intensity, sumo wrestling is good. But I'm a football guy. That was my first love. That's why I got my name Speedy from football. But I love football, and I don't know how this year